Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast, a deep dive into all things Disney Vacation Club. We share tips, tricks, and insider info, helping you make the most of your membership. Join us for the latest news, reviews, and interviews with DVC experts and enthusiasts. Whether you're a seasoned DVC member or considering your first contract, this podcast is for you. Now, here are your hosts, Mike Hurley and Gary Arruda.
Welcome to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. This is episode 9, recorded in the DeFont Library Recording Studios in sunny Sarasota, Florida, and Cranston, Rhode Island. I'm your host, Mike in Florida, joined by my cousin and co-host, Gary up in Rhode Island. Good evening, Gary.
What's going on, Pards?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just a lazy Sunday?
Just a lazy Sunday, trying to get caught up. You know, we had a working trip up last week at Walt Disney World. We're going to do a trip review actually this evening, but we had breaking Polynesian Tower news.
Yeah, you got to play. You had that board. You didn't put breaking news.
I did not put breaking news. I should have, shouldn't I?
Yeah. But that's okay. Yeah, we were going to do, because we talked about it last week, saying that, you know, tune in next week for the trip review. But
yeah,
instead, we had to push that off a week. We'll still talk about it. But the new breaking news came out, and we have to address it.
It has to be talked about. We used to in the past let the news people handle the news, but you know, people rely on us, the experts.
Yeah. No one does it
Disney
better.
World Beyond the Gates or Disney Vacation Club.
That's true.
We are your trusted experts,
A trusted news source when it comes.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
It. Yeah, absolutely. But obviously, if anybody that has been paying attention probably saw the announcement that the Poly Tower will be going on sale, and they released the point charts and how much they're going to be charging for point, when it's going to go on sale, all that good stuff. So we need to break it down. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you before we get into it. You were just there. You were next door at the Grand Floridian.
That is correct.
In the midst of the construction, because it's closer to the Grand Floridian than it is to the main building of the Polynesian.
Certainly is. We went for walks every night, and it's just the construction walls are right next to the wedding pavilion.
Right. I was going to say, how they plan on starting stays December 17th, if I remember correctly. So that's like less than 3 months away.
Yes.
How far off does it look? Because when we were there in July, it looked really far off.
Yeah, it still looks pretty far off.
That's crazy. Because they're going to be taking these people's money, $800 a night for a regular studio around Christmas time, and the thing's going to have, you know, paint tape and sawdust in the room still.
Oh, yeah. Just like the Disneyland Tower.
Yeah, that's a good point. They set these hard dates, which I guess they just have to, because otherwise they just keep pushing it off, like the cake bake shop. that thing was supposed to open in 1996, if I remember correctly, and now we're waiting for a 2025 launch for that.
It's unbelievable. We got to figure out what's going on with that. Is it like negotiate? Like, you would think that you would have had all the negotiations and all that figured out up front, right? Like, if you're going to open up a McDonald's,
yeah, it's almost like it's something done.
Want to take 25% of profits or whatever. You got to what is the hell going on there?
It's like it's in Boston or Providence, where the mob and the unions are fighting.
Yeah, the unions are slowing it down. Like Providence Place Mall. I mean, that thing took decades upon decades to get that thing figured out.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of slush money going on for that thing.
Mayor Cianci.
Yeah, buddy. Providence's mayor. The Prince of Providence, right? Isn't that what they called him?
That was the name of the book, too.
That's right. But, yeah, this tower does not look like it's close. And granted, you were there recently, so that's why I asked. But I don't know. Is this like a new ride where you have to, let them work out the kinks before you stay there? Or do you want to be one of the first? I know you don't necessarily.
No interest. I have zero interest. We'll actually be up there on the grand opening. So we will be in there doing some vlogging.
Oh yeah, because you
And I
can.
think that's the day that you
It opens a couple
leave.
days after we come back.
Oh, does it? Okay.
I think that's the Monday or Tuesday after.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday. Yep. We're going Sunday to Tuesday. You're leaving Sunday. So we will be there. We'll check it out.
Nice.
Maybe do some lives.
It's
But
interesting though.
before we get into numbers and
Yeah,
dates
yeah.
and all that stuff, I just want to go on record to say this thing is fugly.
Is it? Yeah.
It's awful. It's awful.
Because I was reserving judgment until they were like put those final touches to it. But it seems like there are no final touches. It's just going to be a big building with no personality.
We're traditionalists. We like the old, but when we were on the monorail in the boat, Kristen said, I understand they got to do a tower. They have a small footprint, this and that. Could they have at least made it look like the old existing resort? Maybe even just have the roof look like the roof
Yeah,
of the
like the
bungalow.
thatched roof or whatever.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of. I'm sure the inside will have some
They're
personality,
going to be
although
gorgeous.
everything looks like the Marriotts, which all the cheerleaders don't like when it's the Riviera or when the boardwalk gets redone. But now that it's the Poly,
When it's the Grandestino Tower.
right?
Right, all homogenized Hilton towers, but
Regardless, that's a topic for another day. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put a big eyesore, you have to make it fit in, right?
at least have it fit a little, yeah.
Especially there. And I know
I
it's
mean,
gonna be popular, and people are gonna go, and people are gonna want to hang out in the lobby there, and hang out at the restaurant and the bars and all their observation decks, and see the new rooms, and it's gonna be super busy, right?
absolutely.
People are gonna like it. It's gonna be an attraction, but that doesn't mean they did as good of a job as they could have.
Look at the Grand Floridian.
Mhm.
Look at their DVC. It completely fits in. It looks like it's been there
You wouldn't even know it's newer.
since 1987, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand they had to build higher, so it wasn't gonna be exactly the same
Sure.
as the others, but it's like they didn't even put in the effort to make it look similar. Like,
It
at least
almost looks yellow, doesn't it?
well, yeah, it seemed I haven't really even seen it in that much of a state, but, like, Bay Lake Tower kinda fits in with the contemporary, right? The aesthetic is close,
Kinda, yeah. Kinda, yeah.
but this just looks weird, and it encroaches on 2 resorts. Makes the wedding pavilion look weird.
It overtook the wedding pavilion.
Right. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
That's right.
We're gonna talk about sales, pricing, point charts, which I love point charts, don't you?
I do like point charts.
That's one of my favorite things to look at. But they're gonna be on sale, the tower, the new contracts. Which, by the way,
Mhm.
why are they debuting like it's not a new association, so can't they just sell the points right now? Couldn't you buy into the poly? Or they're refusing to sell any poly points until October 1st.
They trying to build up demand?
I guess, right? It's not a new association, so why are they not selling the points?
Yeah, it's no different from selling new contracts over at,
Like Saratoga or Animal Kingdom
yeah.
or something. Yeah. So I guess they must just be halting them altogether because obviously people would be doing that. But the Island Tower at the Polynesian Villa and Bungalows will be on sale for existing DVC members starting Tuesday, October 1st. And the starting price per point will be
Yes.
$225 per point, which is
Mhm.
pretty much right in line with all of the Walt Disney World on sale resorts. Like close enough, right?
New inventory, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like some of the experts, quote unquote, thought this was gonna be in the 240 to 250 range, which is insane.
Yeah, well, which we'll get into with the point chart, you can't charge that much. because then now you got to spend all this per point, and then the point charts are pretty crazy as well to stay there. They said that there will likely be incentives that can reduce that cost, just like everywhere else. There's always
Sure.
some kind of incentives going on. So
Right.
I guess you just have to wait and see after October 1st. And then October 29th, new member sales will begin. So existing DVC members have about a month head start on those points. It's not going to sell out, so I don't think it
No,
really.
that's why I don't understand. Unless they give some type of incentives to existing owners,
Which they're
you
not
don't
going to be
really
any
need to
different.
jump.
Yeah.
You don't need to jump on it right now, do you?
No, unless you just want to book something right away.
True.
Because that's the one
Speaking
thing
of,
I haven't
go ahead.
seen. Is it? Do they tell you when you could start booking with the
Yeah,
points?
so
I
it's
know.
October 15th. Current and add-on Disney Vacation Club members at Disney's Polynesian villas and bungalows can book with vacation points.
Okay.
So that's October 15th.
Okay. So you have like 2 weeks to buy in. But if you're already a member, if you
Yeah,
have
so Angry
current Poly
Newfield
points,
Jr. can start booking on the 15th.
but like you and I cannot on the 15th.
That is correct.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think it's a crazy price.
No, I think it's a fair price. Absolutely.
It actually makes me rethink some of those resale prices I've been seeing that have been super high at the Poly.
That's why I don't understand why people were jumping on the resale.
No.
I mean, seriously, if you were kind of borderline, just put it different way. If Doc said, you know what, I really like the sound of having a direct contract, then we can do this, we can do that, we can do that. And the Polynesian is my favorite resort. Now you're like, ooh, okay, let's run some numbers. Now, if you were running numbers, 150 direct is a no-brainer, as opposed to 150 resale at the $190 point. I mean, you're going to spend
Oh, yeah.
$35 more a point just to get the blue card, if you will.
And it won't even be that much with the incentives.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably
That's like I just couldn't get
like
over how high
250,
those resale went.
Yeah, I think people assumed it was gonna be super high, and they were trying to sneak it in, and it created demand for it.
Because they've actually started coming back to light the past couple months. They've been working their way back down to where they should be.
Yeah, it makes sense. But, I mean, I like the Poly. I don't love it.
I'm
You
with
don't.
you.
You're okay. Like, I do want to stay there
Yes.
at some point, but I have to tell you, if I'm gonna stay in a studio, I'd rather stay in the old studios. The current studios. They have 2 bathrooms, they sleep
Yep.
5. I think the existing studios are better than the tower. I know they're
agree to an
brand new,
extent.
obviously.
I still prefer for the two of us to have the Murphy bed or the pull down bed and
Mhm.
have a little extra room. You guys always will utilize the beds as a family of 4.
Well, they have the pull-down beds in the Poly studios.
Well, they have 2 queens in the Poly Studios.
No, they don't. It's a pull-down. It's a Murphy bed.
You're
It's the same
exactly
exact.
right. Yes,
Yeah,
my bad.
and
Yes.
it's got the under TV one, so you can actually sleep 5
Yeah,
in
yep,
that
I totally
studio.
forgot about that because they redid it. When we stayed there, it was 2 queens.
Yeah, yes, I know they redid it and they added it, but
And they've actually redid it years ago. I don't even know what I was thinking.
yeah. But I do like it has the 2 bathrooms, which the new ones do not,
Yep.
and, they're really well themed, and plus you're closer to the original lobby in
Yeah.
that building,
Yeah.
which I like. But again, that's not really what we're here to talk about, whether the studios. I mean, I haven't really seen. They did some teaser videos, but I'll wait until like the true
Yeah, the rooms, they just
vlogs
look
come out.
gorgeous.
Yeah. And it is nice to have the 1 bedrooms and the 2 bedrooms now at the Poly. Like I imagine if you
Much
own
needed.
there, it's so badly needed because that bungalow, as nice as it is not really attainable for what 80% of DVC members.
Yeah, 80, 90, 95%, right?
Whatever it is, yeah. That's just for the whales, so to speak, the people that you cruise
We're
with that
getting
have
there, Park. Don't
600, 800
underestimate
point.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be going to some of those after parties, parties with David Ortiz in a few years.
Yeah. How much are you kicking yourself wishing, like, if you just knew now what you knew then, or knew then what you knew now, like, could have got into it? Obviously, it wouldn't have worked for me in 1991 being 8
Or
years old, but
or reset the clock. We were thinking about buying it in 2016. So now we would have had 2 contracts, and I mean, God knows how many we'd have by now.
yeah, because if you'd done resale in 2016, you would have had the blue card
Yeah.
anyway. You could have had a ton more points for a lot less, even direct.
Yeah, I think at the time when we sat down and got the free ice cream and fast passes, and I think we got a $100 gift card too. That was a good deal. I believe it was 25 points back then. So you're right. I could have had the blue card. I could have had tons of Grand Floridian. I'd probably own it. I'd have a West Coast resort. Maybe Alani subsidized because I would have been patient.
Yeah, right.
I would have had a gorgeous portfolio.
All that stuff under your belt. Just go back 10 years and just chip away at it.
Like we
When
always
started
say,
our
the
stupid
best
podcast.
time to buy DVC is now.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Best time was years ago. The best time now is now.
Right, exactly.
Don't wait a week or a year or 2 years.
All right, you want to get into these point charts, or do you want to talk
do.
anymore? All right, so we have new room categories in the tower. We have a duo studio,
which is what they have at Riviera and Disneyland Hotel. Those are those small rooms where they just have a Murphy bed. It sleeps 2.
I don't mind them going that route with new builds. I think it's a good category to have. Incentivizes people to buy in and try to get these lower points. It's a good way to kind of dip your toe in or try some of these places out. Like if you and Susie wanted to stay at the Poly and you don't want to spend 1 million points, you could stay in one of these duo studios if you could get it, which I'm sure they're going to be really hard to get. That's 7 months for a while.
My only problem with the duo is if you look at it, we'll just go low. A lot of people compare highest of high. We'll go low. We'll go the September time period, and we'll just do a standard view. You're looking at 12 points during the week.
Yeah,
to 14 points for a deluxe studio. I'm spending 2 extra points to get a bigger room.
That's fair. Yeah,
and
no,
if
that's
you
a
do the
good
same
point.
comparison over at Riviera, it's 2 points less, so it's 10 points a night, and it's 14 for the same studio during the week, Sunday through Thursday.
Gotcha. So it's twice as many.
Yeah, so I could say, it's 4 points more at Riviera. It's only 2 at the Polynesian.
Yeah, that's not terrible. So you have the duo studio, you have a standard view, you have a preferred view, and a premium view. Now, what's the difference between preferred and premium besides the 3 extra points that you have to pay?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I can find it down below.
That'll be interesting to see. So standard view includes... go ahead.
Says premium includes at least partial views of Seven Seas Lagoon.
Okay. Preferred view includes at least partial views of lakes, pools, or golf course. Premium includes at least partial views of the Seven Seas Lagoon. Theme park includes at least a partial view of the Magic Kingdom. And standard view includes other areas of the resort, such as gardens or parking areas. I mean, standard makes sense. Everyone knows what standard is. But now they're adding like these in between, which is strange to me.
Where you could be very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm paying 4 extra points for a preferred view and I'm getting a partial view of like the 4th hole at Magnolia, I'm not going to be too thrilled with that.
You're not going to be thrilled, are you?
Probably not. Although it'd be hard to get a view of the 4th hole. I think that's pretty far away, but you get my point.
No, I get your drift, right?
And then the premium view. That's only in this duo studio, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
So it must be where they're located in the building.
Right.
The deluxe studio we have sleeps up to 4, so there's no underneath bed like a lot of the studios have. So 4 is not great. 5 is really nice. 4 is okay. So this is the tower inventory. Same point chart as the deluxe studio from the previous association. 14 standard, 19 preferred. This is again during the week in September.
September month. Yep.
And then theme park view is 24, which the deluxe studio does not have a theme park view category. So 24 per night is pretty high for the lowest for a studio. That's a lot.
24 is a lot.
You're getting into Grand Californian territory with that, aren't you?
No, Grand Cal's even cheaper than Grand Floridian. That's a lot, because if we want to compare it, I was going to compare this to Riviera to be fair, but it's not even close. We got to compare it to the Grand Floridian, which is their flagship resort.
Yes.
And you're looking at a deluxe studio starting at 16 at the Grand Floridian and a 1-bedroom at 31 for a standard view. And what is a 1-bedroom?
28.
28.
So it's a little lower, but not much.
It's a little lower. But that's just for September.
Yeah.
As we start moving into the busiest seasons, these
jumps
point
way
charts
up.
are getting outrageous.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I certainly did.
Because when you look at September, you're like, oh, that's not bad. It's little less than the Grand Floridian, right around where Riviera is. That's okay. That's par. That sounds about fair. That's where the Poly should be priced at.
But then you get further into the year, and now you're at 25, 34 for Christmas time. What's the grand at Christmas?
What are we looking at? A studio?
Yeah, just a standard studio.
A standard studio is 32.
So it's actually 2 points higher at the Poly at Christmas than the Grand Floridian, which is interesting. The 1-bedroom, again, in September, the standard view. And a lot of this is going to come down to how many of these standard views are there. They're going to be gobbled up at 11 months, right? With all the
Absolutely.
the owners there trying to save points, which I can understand, especially with the difference. Like a 1-bedroom villa from standard to preferred is 10 points per night more. 28 to 38. That's a huge jump. And that's again in September. We have 2-bedroom villas, which sleep up to 9. Again, that's a new category. They're kind of in line. 44 for a standard, 54, 68 for theme park view. They really rake you over the coals for those theme park views, don't they?
They do. Yeah, they do.
Even at like the Contemporary, it's a huge bump up to those theme park view rooms at Bay Lake Tower. And then now I haven't looked into it as much. So the 2-bedroom penthouse villa sleeps less. It sleeps 8. The regular 2-bedroom villa sleeps 9, and it's half the amount of points. So this is in line with a bungalow, this penthouse villa, 88, 86
From what I understand, it's like on the top floor.
I mean, what else?
Which a penthouse would be, right?
It's got to be more than that, though, right? There's got to be something else. Because it's only sleeping 8, but they must be extra bonus rooms, like media rooms, something crazy, right?
You have to think.
For that big of a jump, practically double. Like a theme park view for one night in September for a 2-bedroom penthouse villa is 108 points. You can get a cabin for less than that. I mean, you can get the bungalow for less than that. The bungalow is 112. I guess it's close, but there's no view categories in the bungalow. So you're basically paying bungalow points for a regular 2-bedroom. I don't know. I mean, people will use them, obviously. Like we talked about the whales, people that have all these points are going to want this, but if you're going to go, why not make a 3-bedroom at that point?
Yeah, I don't understand that. You're right.
Make a sleep
Because
with 12
most of these, big resorts have the
grand
3-bedroom
villas.
grand villas. So
You added this whole tower to add inventory and to add different room categories, and you didn't even add a 3-bedroom room category.
right.
I mean, we knew that for a while. They didn't have plans for it, but that's a little strange to me. I thought they would take advantage of that and add some 3-bedrooms, or at least have like a. I know the 2-bedrooms are lock-offs with like a 1-bedroom and a studio.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do that with a 2-bedroom and a studio or something and make that like a 3-bedroom opportunity with some of these? But obviously, they're not doing that. I mean, the point charts aren't crazier than I thought they would be, except for that penthouse villa, which I don't know. Maybe when I see it, I'll be blown away and say it's worth it. Like, I can't afford the cabin or the bungalow, but I can see
Right.
how it's worth those amount of points for what you get. It's so unique. A 2-bedroom villa doesn't seem like it would be that unique. Like, is it 2 stories? Like, are you getting these giant window views out
Right.
over? You
Like
know
they
what I mean?
have over at the Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah. And maybe it is. Maybe it'll blow us away what it is. Maybe they're club. I mean, it's not club level because they would have said something about that. They don't have club level at the Poly. They're not going to do it at the Tower. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting, but I guess the point charts aren't as crazy.
I thought they were pretty high.
I
I thought
always
they
look
were
at
higher than
studios
what I
first.
thought they would be.
I don't know. I didn't think the points were going to come down. Like the studios are expensive at the Poly. They're almost as expensive as the Grand. So they didn't really change. Like the deluxe studio is the same whether you're in the Tower or the original association, all across the board. Every single one's the same, except there's a theme park view category in this new tower. The 1-bedroom villas, a standard. So I'm looking when I go in July.
Mhm. You're already looking at maybe modifying to a
No,
2-bedroom, aren't you?
no. Well, we already have a 2-bedroom.
No, but I'm
Well,
saying not at leaving
yeah.
Saratoga.
So the 1-bedroom at the Poly is more points than the 2-bedroom is at Boardwalk, Saratoga, Animal Kingdom, Old Key West. So the 1-bedroom for a week would be $292. I think the 2-bedroom's $258 at Saratoga. It's like $250 at Animal Kingdom, $256 at Boardwalk. These are all for
You're
standard
saying for a
views.
week.
For a week for 7 nights. Yeah,
Gotcha.
like to go to 410 from 250 to 410. That's a big jump for a 2-bedroom.
Yeah, it is.
They're gonna be in high demand though. That's what people wanted. They wanted these 1 and 2 bedrooms, right?
They sure did.
So you're gonna have to pay for them.
I mean,
Like,
with the exception of me, most people who own on the monorail loop are whales. They're well-to-do people.
I
Again, with the
guess.
exception of me.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I think a
You know
lot of
what?
people
Actually, I'm
who
gonna
own on the
disagree with you there.
monorail have a
I,
lot of points. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna disagree with you
Go ahead.
because
You're
I
gonna
think
say that I am a whale too?
no. I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
say that people. I'm gonna say most people that own DVC don't know what they're doing when they go into that sales pitch, and they buy wherever
Whatever they're selling.
whatever is on sale, which happened to be in the last 10 years has basically exclusively been monorail resorts, whether it's the Poly or the Grand or Bay Lake Tower.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people own there, and maybe they just always stay there because that's their home resort and they don't know as much about it. Like, how many people that own DVC don't know the full like ins and outs of it.
A lot.
And they just assume, well, I own at Grand Floridian, I have to stay at Grand Floridian. I stay the same time. They have those weird number of points because, like, well, it would cost me 174 points to stay for a week when I want to stay, and that's when we want to stay. So we buy 174 points, and we're going to do that.
That's why
every
you
year.
see the 174 on the resale market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those out there.
I
just don't know.
Yeah.
So to say that the people on the monorail now, I think people that maybe buy resale or have multiple contracts, then that could be true. But I think, like, if Joe and Pam from Des Moines, Iowa, walk into a sales meeting when they're staying on their vacation where they just spent $900 a night for a poly room, and they walk into the sales presentation, they're like, "Well, guess what? Polynesian's on sale. You can get 150 points for this, and you could stay here every year in the same room you're staying in right now." And they do all the math, and they're like, "That's great." They buy in those 150 points at the poly, and that's all they ever do. And they kind of wipe their hands of it. That probably happens a lot more than you think. Like, you even talked about, what is it, like Panda kind of got roped into buying direct
At
Riviera
because that's what was on sale.
Or not, or was that Adam the Woo? Whoever it was, one of those people that you follow.
No, Panda and Adam the Woo both bought at Riviera.
Right, because that's what was on sale, and that's what the salespeople were pushing. So, I think people buy what's on sale because that's what is presented to them with the incentives and everything. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how quickly, if it does sell out. Now, did we see? I haven't seen anything, so it might not be out there. How many actual rooms there are that they added?
I have not seen that
in each category. Yeah, I guess we'll find that out probably pretty soon as well. I think the studios are in line. I don't think they raised the point chart from last year to the studios, but yeah, the 1 and 2 bedrooms are pretty crazy. I think maybe the wildest, now that you talk about it, is that duo studio being so close to the deluxe studio. It's like, who's going to want to stay there? The only I guess you could save a lot more points when you get into the higher.
Yeah, I'm looking at Christmas. It's 27 for the duo, and it's 34.
So saving 7 a
for the
night, I
deluxe.
could
So you
see that.
7. So if you're there for 7 nights, yeah, that's quite a bit.
Yeah. But like you said, it's 240 square feet as opposed to 500 and something. Whatever. I'm just guessing. I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah, those duo studios are tiny. I don't know. I mean, I definitely want to check the new tower out. I don't know if I'll stay there anytime soon, but like just hang out in the lobby and check it out. I'm interested to see how it looks, what the gift shops are like.
I was reading, it doesn't look like anything great restaurant-wise. They said that there's going to be a restaurant that just does lunch and dinner and is going to be a grab and go for breakfast and coffee. So, I mean, that's
just basically a 1 credit.
A little underwhelming because it would be nice to be able to take away from Ohana with all the Ohana traffic to be able to actually have another sit-down option other than Kona. Because Kona can be busy because you can't get into Ohana.
Small. Yeah. Kona's very small. Ohana's always packed. And they don't have a signature. They could have added a 2 credit.
Yeah, they could have added some type of signature. I've always said the Poly's been lacking food and beverage, and it doesn't seem like there's any type of upgrade with this tower.
No, that wasn't high on their priority. I know there's like fireworks viewing areas and stuff like that are going to be very highly sought after, but they didn't seem to really focus on the food and bev aspect of it. Any final thought? I don't really have anything else to add to it.
No, I do have. We're just going to follow up on some of the dates that we talked about because I am seeing now it's November 5th. New members at Disney's Polynesian Villas and Bungalows can book with vacation points. So the October date was just existing members.
Gotcha.
So these are new members. And then November 19th, you and I can start booking.
Existing. Okay.
And December 17th is the grand opening. So.
Well, I'm sure it'll be banged out for a while. People are going to want to stay and check it out and things like that. It's going to be hard.
I mean, I'll be honest. You'll be looking once you're able to start booking, won't you? See if there's anything open. No,
I can't afford it. Even with extra points, I don't know. Do I want to eat up all those points to stay in a studio?
even with your new contract.
Even with the new contract, I still think I'm going to be a point miser.
Are you really?
I think so. I'd rather just stay longer in like a 1-bedroom than stay in a studio like that or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see. It's time to decide. Eventually, we'll stay there because I know the girls are going to want to stay at the Poly at some point. It is cool,
Right.
especially while they're young. Like, there's a lot to do there for kids, for sure. But you know what I like about it? I think it makes it easier to book the old studios at the 7-month mark because everyone's going to be trying to get the tower.
Yeah, you thinking the 11-monthers are going to grab the tower, and there's going to be some inventory for 7-monthers.
I think so.
I think you're right about that.
Grab one of those, which I think right now I'd prefer one of those studios over the tower studio. And then you're on campus. You can go hang out in the tower if you want. You're just not in the room. And I'd be in a standard view anyway. I'd rather have a standard view at the
we had a ground floor the time that we stayed at, looking at the basically the transportation, the ticket center. It was fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, eventually. I know one of us will stay there probably within the next 18 months.
Yeah, we got the itch when we were there last week. You always get the itch whenever you go check out a resort. You sit in the lobby, you get a cocktail at the Tambu Lounge, and you're like, God, I forgot how cool this place is.
You're like, yeah, I could stay here for 2 or 3 nights.
Yeah, I could do 2 or 3 nights. Although she has no interest in Ohana. I've gotten the Ohana itch. You don't get the Ohana itch, do you?
Not really. I mean, I'll eat there, but it's not like very high on my priority list.
You know what it is, I think?
What's that?
You can smell the meats from the Grand Floridian.
That does help. Yeah.
That's what happens. It's kind of like the Main Street confectionery. If you're truly isn't walking around there at 10 o'clock at night, yeah, you smell the meat. Like we'll go up and we'll get our coffee at the Grand Floridian, go to Gasparilla. We're coming back. You can smell the bacon and sausage, and it's calling my name.
And you think that's all the way from Ohana? Even at the
we're
Grand
walking. Because we're walking toward the DVC villas, and you're closer to Ohana now than you are Grand Flow Cafe. Oh, it smells so good. So good.
I've never done breakfast there.
It was underwhelming.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's underwhelming, especially for the price.
Right. That's what makes me cautious. But no, I don't have anything else to add about the Poly.
All right.
I wonder though, maybe we can reach out, or if anyone listening has any comments. If you're a Poly owner already, do you like this edition? Is this going to draw in too many more owners and you're worried about booking at your 11-month mark now? Like, what are the thoughts of current Poly owners about this? Reach out to us. Let us know. That's it. That's all I have to say.
That's all you have. All right. You can find us on all socials at DVC Addicts. Our Facebook group is DVC Addicts. Email the show, info@addictedtodvc.com. I believe that's it, is it not? Did I, as you would say on our other show, did I miss anything?
YouTube? You give the YouTube page?
YouTube at DVC Addicts.
There you go. I don't think so. I think you got it all.
All right. Thanks again for listening to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. For my co-host Gary up in Rhode Island, I'm Mike down in sunny Sarasota, Florida. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Addicted to DVC podcast with Mike and Gary. We want to hear from you. Email us at info@addictedtodvc.com and follow us on all socials at DVC Addicts. We appreciate you being a part of our DVC community, and we'll see you again on our next episode. Thanks again for listening, and welcome home.